What about when we fail? So if we got the motivation and people are setting these, and we'll get into goal setting even more, but what happens when they fail? Like you all of a sudden you had that veterinary job and you lost the job and like this is my perfect job. And I was getting paid for it. What happens when we just fall?
Yeah. Failure is extremely important. Failure is the beginning of growth. That's what I believe. And I think that people who don't fail enough will probably never grow as big as they could grow.
Yeah.
Because it's the failure that gives you the real world analytical data that you can sit there and think about and start rejiggering and modifying and tweaking yourself and your thought process and the way you look at things. And so the part about failure is, first of all, you have to understand that failure is going to happen. Some people never consider that they're going to fail. And so when failure happens, it decimates them because they never thought, you know what, this could get kind of tricky. This may not work out. So my approach always to people is, listen, guys, you're going to begin a diet program. Guess what? You're going to have some bad days. I tell you right from the beginning, I don't care if you're my plan or anyone's plan. You're going to have some bad days and make some bad decisions, and there's going to be some tough times. I say that right in the beginning. Now that you accept that's going to happen, this is how we're going to deal with it, okay? We know it's coming, and we know it's going to be a temporary setback, but that's okay. We're still going to stay positive. We're going to stick to our plan or slightly modify the plan as necessary, but we're going to realize that even though we fell off the bike, once we scrape our knees off and wipe the little scratches, once we get back on the bike, we know we're still going to be able to pedal and we're still going to be able to go down the road. And that is the key to dealing with failure, is that you have to embrace the failure and not feel ashamed by the failure or feel like that failure is representative of your ability to do anything. And people unfortunately take failure as a sign that they are no good. And it's just the opposite. I see failure as a sign of the universe saying to you, you need to make some changes, right? When I finish a manuscript and hand it to my editor, and my editor says, here are some things you may want to consider changing, they're not saying that I'm a bad writer.
Yep.
They're not saying that my idea is a failure. What they're saying is, here are some tweaks you may be able to make to actually improve the manuscript. And that, I think, is the mindset that you have to have when dealing with failure.
That is huge because I think a lot of people nowadays with social media and instant gratification and everything, we're all meant to be told that we've got to be perfect and all that. And this is not a conversation about social media. But at the same time, we're always got like everybody's being given a trophy and like everybody's getting a pat on the back and like everybody has to everybody's like so worried about what everybody else is thinking. And we've got to like be very careful about what people say. And like, yes, there's got to be more awareness about things. Like I said, this is not what this podcast is about. I did one earlier on that. So that's not what that is about. But I think that people we're all having to be told you did such a great job and here's your trophy and you get a smiley face sticker on your paper. Why can't it be like, Doc, here's a bunch of red ink on your paper for people. Paper is a thing that people used to write on. And red ink on your paper. And you're like, oh, these are some edits that can make my book better. And I can be better for this. And I think a lot of our culture now is, that fear of failure and not embracing it. And I suffer from depression. I've got to embrace that. And when I'm going to have it for the rest of my life. It's not going to go away. I don't know. Was it a matter of the 5-6 concussions I had playing hockey or was it genetic? I don't know, but I'm going to have it. Right. So I've got to be aware of that. So there might be days or weeks where I feel bad. I feel down, but I used to not tell my family or tell my wife, but now hey, I'm having one of those days or just, I don't know. It's not you. It's nothing that you did, but I'm embracing it as you said, and I absorbed it. And then I told her, this is nothing you did. I just woke up in a sad mood and I'm going to have that day. And as you say in your book, there's 24 hours in the day. Maybe the next 24 hours would be better. Maybe it'll suck again. But embracing that fall is huge. And I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah. And let me just also say, I think that one of the reasons why people are not open to the redlining and to the corrections is because unfortunately, people these days are not doing it in a constructive manner.
Mm.
They're doing it in a destructive manner. So instead of saying to someone, hey, you may want to consider doing it this way, because if you do it this way, it'll be more efficient, it'll be more effective. Instead, people like annihilate people. They're mean spirited. They say it in a way that's not very positive.
Yeah.
And I'm a positive person. And so I'm not perfect, but I try to be more positive. And so I think people have to hear constructive criticism versus you're no good. Like when I talk to my kids, about sports, I have to be very careful about how I address them making corrections in their swing, for example. I can't sit and say, why aren't you doing it this way? Right? Instead of saying, listen, you're doing it this way, but when you do it this way, this is what's happening. But if you tried it this way, maybe you'll get more topspin on the ball. It'll get deeper into the core and it'll land in rather than out. So it's really about kind of how we communicate our criticism. I think is very, very pivotal.